Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. So I watched a movie on Amazon Prime today, so if you have Amazon Prime, feel free to check this out. It is the prequel to Manos, Hands of Fate, known as Manos, The Rise of Torgo. Manos, The Hands of Fate is one of the worst or best B-movies ever. I'm not sure if most of you have seen it, but it's pretty famous. It was also on Mystery Science Theater. Manos, The Rise of Torgo came out in 2018. As I said, it is on Amazon Prime, so you can watch that for free if you have that, and it is a prequel to Manos, The Hands of Fate. It seems like a labor of love. I'm not sure if it's a fan film or if it got a ton of budget on it, but it seemed pretty low budget. It is written and directed by David Roy. It stars Danny McCarty and Elizabeth Redpath. Elizabeth Redpath is really cute. She plays Torgo's mom in the movie. She's the redhead. You won't be able to miss her. So the movie pretty much lays out how Torgo, the gentleman with the limp in Manos, Hand of Fate, I'd probably recommend seeing that first if you haven't seen it, with the weird legs, how he became the master's servant. It shows him as a kid getting bullied and beat up. The weird part is he's played by a guy, I'm not sure if it's Matt Rogers or Ethan Groover, but he's played by a guy that definitely does not look like, 16 or 17. He looks like he's in his mid-20s, maybe even late 20s. A little hard to tell because he has a big beard. But they do show him at different stages of life with the beard, which is funny. He's like a child with a huge beard, and you can see it's like glued on. Definitely a low-budget type of film. So it shows Torgo getting like sucked in, sort of, by one of the wives of the Master from the first film, who is the Master is played by Danny McCarty, and he goes along and they mutilate him, but they also like put their spell on him or whatever and make him one of the servants. The movie's pretty funny. They filmed the whole movie, from what I was reading, without audio, and then they overdubbed it with the voices and the sound effects and everything, just like they did with Manos, Hands of Fate. Some of the cuts, and I was reading that like the cuts are similar in terms of the original film, Manos, Hands of Fate, had like each scene was only like up to 30 seconds or something. There was not like long cuts. So it's the same type of thing. There's some, they definitely did this on purpose, but there's some scenes where someone will be like speaking or doing something, it'll cut in the middle of it and sort of continue right after, so like the face is in a different position or the mouth is in a different way. So it's pretty funny and self-aware. As I said, the story is just pretty much about Torgo growing up, being bullied, and then getting controlled and taken over by the Master and his wives. Meanwhile, his mother, who, as I said, was played by Elizabeth Redpath, she is looking for him and trying to go after the Master and his wives. There is some pretty interesting characters in the film. I think everyone did a pretty good job. They seem to have fun. It's definitely a B-movie. This isn't something that you would go into and think it's some amazing, great film, but it's definitely a fun movie, and if you really enjoy Manos, The Hands of Fate, or enjoy making fun of Manos, The Hands of Fate, I think it's a pretty good prequel. I'm not sure in the canon of things, considering the gentleman who made Manos, Hands of Fate has passed away, where this lies and if it's like legit, but it was interesting nonetheless. Trying to think who else I can talk about. I think my favorite characters in the film, which is kind of funny because they're not one of the main characters, there's these two women that play the, I think, grandmothers of Torgo, and they are played by Carol Thacker and Patty Grable, and they're these two kind of heavyset, grandmotherly looking women, gray hair, with the same exact outfit, and they say the same exact things at the same time, but with different voices. So they overdubbed the voices and their mouths, obviously, to go at the same time. And they're kind of weird, a little creepy, but pretty cool that they made these two grandmas like exactly the same. sort of reminded me almost like The Shining, those little twins. So I liked that. I thought they were pretty interesting characters. I thought that, you know, to put a prequel to a movie that's pretty well known in the B community is a difficult thing to do. I think, as I said, Rise of Torgo was a labor of love. You can tell it was very thought out in terms of how the original movie was and how they wanted to portray this film. It doesn't have that like grainy, old, weird aesthetic like the other one has, obviously because it's a recent film. I think it probably would have benefited from some kind of maybe filtering or fake scratches or just a little bit of something to giving it a little more of an older nuance. Everything seems very new, which threw me off a little bit initially. But it was a pretty fun film. I don't necessarily, as I said, think it's like some great movie, but I think it is fun if you are into old, bad B movies, especially if you cannot get enough of Manos, The Hands of Fate. I do look forward to seeing the sequel, which I don't believe has anything to do with this, called, I think it's called The Return of Manos? Manos Returns, which is made by a whole different other group of people. I think that was kickstarted, if I recall. So I look forward to seeing that as well. But yeah, so if you like bad movies, check out Manos, The Rise of Torgo, which is the prequel to Manos, The Hands of Fate. Thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.